Hello, and welcome. Today's video is going to cover an introduction to the BARS manual. If you are new to government or simply need a refresher on the BARS manual, this video is the one for you. Our agenda for this video is as follows. First, we will start with discussing the BARS manual, where it came from and why it exists today. We will also cover the components of the manual in order to familiarize you with our wonderful tool. The next step is discussing the chart of accounts. In this section, we will discuss the uniqueness of the chart of accounts and why there are unique codes, as well as where to find the chart of accounts. There will be a brief section covering budgeting. Accounting topics are one of the specialties of the local government support team, so we will spend some time talking about our accounting section and various areas of that. Reporting is another important part of what our office does. We will talk about the requirement to report to our office, as well as where you will find various tools to assist you in reporting. Finally, we will conclude the session with discussing resources that are offered by our office. Let's jump in and get started. Our first stop in this session is going to be covering the origin of the manual and what topics are covered in the manual. Let's talk about it. How did the BARS manual come into existence? Well, the manual was born in 1909. The BARS manual came to life in 1909 as a result of countrywide corruption with fraud and misuse of public funds. At this time, Washington State noticed what was happening in the United States and set out to create laws to reduce the fraud and misuse here in the state. To mediate the issue, the legislature adopted a law under the Revised Code of Washington that stated that the state auditor's office would now be responsible for formulating, prescribing, and installing a uniform system of accounting for all local governments in the state. That means that since 1909, local governments have been required by law to report their revenues and expenditures to our office. Note that I did say local governments. The state auditor's office does not provide uniform accounts to state governments and school districts. Those types of government have other oversight agencies that prescribe the accounting for them. The state guidelines are provided by the State Administrative and Accounting Manual, or the SAM Manual, maintained by the Office of Financial Management. School districts also do not follow the BARS manual, but rather follow the Accounting Manual for School Districts that is maintained by the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction. Enough of the history lesson, let's take a look at these laws that the legislature adopted and brought to fruition the BARS manual. Here at the State Auditor's Office, we talk about laws often, but not often do we start by mentioning the state law that makes our office what it is today. The first law we should cover is the law adopted by the Washington State Legislature and passed as RCW 43.09.200. In summary, this law states that the Office of the Washington State Auditor shall formulate, prescribe, and install a uniform system of accounting for all local governments throughout the state. This is the law we mentioned before that was intended to resolve the fraud and corruption that was occurring in the early 1900s. The other law that we will talk about is RCW 43.09.230, which is the state law that requires an annual report to be submitted to our office within 150 days after fiscal year end. This report has several components to it, all of which are dependent upon the activity of the government you work at. This report is required to be certified by the government, asserting the accuracy and completeness of the report. This report is what has been filed with our office since the original passing of the state law in 1909. The State Auditor's Office receives annual reports under two different bases of accounting. The Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP, are nationally recognized standards which use full accrual or modified accrual basis of accounting. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or GASB, prescribes those standards. They are complex and not always needed for small governments. The state auditor's office has prescribed what is known as the cash basis of accounting and reporting for those smaller governments within our state. Governments that report on the cash basis use the budgeting, accounting, and reporting system, which we call BARS. Governments do have the opportunity to select what basis of accounting they will report under, while having a few considerations from any of the oversight agencies that they work with. We do discuss reporting differences within the BARS manual for readers that are interested in evaluating other reporting options available. Let's move on to the navigating within the BARS manual. The BARS manuals are found on the SAO website. If a user follows to sao.wa.gov, the following ribbon will be available to see reports and data about SAO across the top. This video's topic is the BARS manual, so if you follow to the BARS and Annual Filing tab, you will find that the accounting manuals, both GAAP and cash basis, are available under that tab of the ribbon. There are other options available in here, a few of which will be covered in this video. All of the items listed here are available at any time they are needed, year-round. In this specific list, though, items are listed if they are considered to be popular and new items or things that are most frequently used. Let's first focus on navigating the accounting manuals, though. As you know, the manuals can be found online. Even though that is where the manuals live, each manual offers all of the same sections that would be available to you in the case that you were to maintain the manual in paper form. Today's video will discuss each of these sections, how to navigate to each, and some of the information that each will offer. The manual has a special section dedicated to each of the following: the charts of accounts, budgeting, accounting, and reporting. Speaking more to the navigation of the manual before we discuss each section, this is the layout of our online manual. Once you click the manual based on the government's reporting basis, this is the next landing page. While this layout does specifically say it is for the cash manual, as you can see at the top, both manuals have the same visual layout. You will see on the left of the manual, those are the different sections that we've been discussing. Each section has its own title, so see on the left the charts of accounts, budgeting, accounting, reporting, and alerts and changes. We will cover each section so you can familiarize yourself with the manual. Before we discuss those sections, let's see the search options at the top. This is the search engine you will want to be sure you use if you are looking for a BARS-related topic. Our web page does offer other search options, however, those other options will search our entire website. If you are looking for a specific accounting topic, that will give you more than you need, so be sure to enter the correct manual for the government and use this search option instead. Finally, while we do offer the manual in the online format, users are always welcome to download and print a copy of the BARS manual. If you are a user that enjoys being able to write on the pages for any reason, such as to take various notes on specific topics, you are still able to do this by clicking that top blue box that says download this manual as PDF. This PDF is printer-friendly and easily read. It is all-encompassing of the online BARS manual. Now, we are going to start talking about the topics on the left side of the landing page. Starting with the table of contents. Each manual has a table of contents included, offering a user even easier navigation. Generally, the table of contents in a book will tell you what section the topic you are searching for is located in. The table of contents in each accounting manual will do the same. However, the online table of contents also offers a link to each of those sections. All of the blue font in the table of contents is a link to the related section. As an example, let's talk about how you may be able to find a section of the manual if all you have is the section number. Each section of the manual, so the chart of accounts, budgeting, accounting, and reporting sections have a number. That means that the chart of accounts section, as you see listed on the screen, is section 1 of the manual. The next number to follow, if you look, is the page within that section. Looking down at object codes, the section 1.4, that indicates to you that the page for object codes is located in the chart of accounts section and on page 1.4. Instead of navigating to the charts of accounts section of the manual, go to page 1.4. You have the chance to click the link here and it will navigate you to that exact page. The bars and annual filing drop-down includes what I refer to as popular or new items. We will cover those next. These two pages, the coming in fiscal year 2023 and the coming in fiscal year 2024 pages, are the homes to the new accounting topics that are soon to come to the accounting manuals. These pages are updated with all of the latest accounting guidance for each manual. These pages contain information that is not yet implemented into the accounting manuals but is information that our office thinks you should be aware of. Once the accounting updates disclosed on these pages are implemented into our manuals, these pages are retained for a one-year time period and then removed and replaced with any new accounting standard update. We always suggest clients keep a close eye on these pages as they are implementing new accounting and reporting standards. Another page that we find is popular is the Alerts and Changes tab of the manual. Each year, our specialists in the office analyze various portions of the manual and draft necessary updates for publication. After all the research and updates are performed, they are implemented into our online manual in order to be viewed by all. Because this process happens annually, we retain each and every one of those updates that occurs and we publish those updates in our manual here. For the most recent 5 years, the updates are available to be viewed at any time something might come up that requires you to refresh your memory. In addition to our annual update process, there are times that the manual requires updates to be made that are off-cycle. If you are signed up to receive notifications from our office, you will be notified of these through what we call a BARS alert. BARS alerts are also retained in this page for the most recent 5 years. That is all we have for navigation, so let's go ahead and move into our next section of the manual. Next, we will explore our charts of accounts. Let's start this topic by discussing the BARS account codes first. The most important and first thing you will want to always remember is that BARS codes are 7 digits long, in every case. BARS codes are established to report revenues, expenditures, and the ending balances at each government. When you get around to exporting your chart of accounts, you will note that the cash and investment balances, or net position balances and revenue codes are included as 7 digits. Of the 7 digits of each code listed, as the first digits is always prescribed. If you see this visual here, this is indicated by a capital P in the code. Let's talk more about the codes. We are starting out with revenue codes. Revenue codes in the chart of accounts all start with the number 3. When you export your chart of accounts, this will pop out to you. Another item worth noting about revenue codes is that revenues are coded by source of which the revenue is derived. This means that revenues are coded under items like taxes, charges for services, or federal grants, to just list a few examples. Moving on to expenditures. Expenditure codes in the chart of accounts all start with the number 5. In the chart of accounts, you will see expenditure codes start to pop up as you scroll through the export. Expenditures are unlike revenues though, and they are coded based on the function the expenditure supports. To list a few examples, expenditures are listed as fire prevention and investigation or legislative activities. From those two examples, as a reader, you can easily identify what exactly the expenditure was for that the government was required to pay. Additional mentions on the expenditure codes is that these are prescribed in 2 sets of code. Upon exporting the chart of accounts, it will be noted that there are only 5 digits in the chart of accounts for expenditure codes. This means there are 2 additional digits that are required to ensure that the code is 7 digits as required. Those 2 additional digits are called the object code. What these digits do to the code is they are providing additional details to the expenditure code. Before I mentioned that the code would tell a reader the expenditure was incurred to support fire prevention and investigation, and now those two extra digits will tell a reader whether or not the government paid their own employees, they bought supplies, or paid another company to support that function. Our last set of codes we will cover are the ending balances. Depending on a government's reporting basis, GAAP versus cash basis, there are different codes available, so we will only briefly cover these. As a GAAP reporting government, the chart of accounts will provide codes to report the government's fund balance, net position, and memo accounts. If the government is reporting under the cash basis, the chart of accounts is prescribed to detail the cash and investment balances of the government. Most typically, these codes are used to report beginning and ending balances at the government by fund. In exporting the chart of accounts, these codes are displayed at the beginning and end of the document that you chose for your export option. Which is a good segue to talking about exporting the chart of accounts. As a reminder, there are unique account codes for each government type. In order to obtain the correct codes by government, a user should visit our accounting manual and view the BAR's account export page, based on the government's reporting basis, which is found under the chart of accounts, as you see here. Upon visiting that page, this is the visual of the export options. The government type should be selected from the drop-down that best applies. There is the opportunity to select the basis of accounting that fits the government. It is important to ensure these items are correctly selected prior to downloading the chart of accounts. If the correct options are not selected here, the account codes that are downloaded may not be allowable for the government type. This causes issues when reporting to our office and in the government's own chart of accounts. The other two options for this page are the export type and the reporting level. The BAR's manual offers two export types. The options are Excel and PDF. The PDF option is the most reader-friendly and is easily printed. However, Excel does offer the opportunity for a government to filter to only view specific codes such as revenue codes only. When selected a reporting level, it is strongly encouraged to select the above and prescribed level. The other option is prescribed. The prescribed only option will provide only the prescribed codes. However, the above and prescribed level provides more information such as what the set of codes is rolled into. If a government is attempting to identify a new code based on a new revenue, the above and prescribed level of reporting would be most encouraged to ensure the government had all of the necessary information to make an educated selection for a code. A useful resource that is offered in the Chart of Accounts section of our manual is our BARS codes to fund type spreadsheet. Oftentimes there are BARS codes that may be located by searching the manual that may be specific to certain funds which a reader wouldn't know by simply looking at the code. Our manual offers a resource that assists in identifying the appropriate funds for each BARS code. This can be extremely helpful when a government is attempting to identify the best code for a specific activity that is to be reported to our office. That concludes our Chart of Accounts section of the manual. We are going to move into discussing the budgeting section now. The budgeting section of our manual is brief and succinct. Another glimpse of the BARS manual at this time, the budgeting section specifically. This section discusses compliance, which is the viewpoint in hand that the SAO has on the budgeting topic. Budgeting procedures are set by state law and government-specific policies. Our office does not typically handle many budget-specific topics outside of ensuring compliance with state law that governments are subject to on the topic in compliance with a government's own adopted budget. During a normal audit, there may be questions from the audit team regarding the budget. However, this is purely to call attention to budget adoption, any amendments, applicable laws and policies, and whether or not the government stayed in compliance with its own adopted budget. There are various associations that do provide several resources for budgeting that are used as reference for governments in the case that questions arise. Let's move into the accounting section of the BAR's manual, which I would call a fan favorite over here with us. So let's spend a bit of time familiarizing ourselves with what this section has to offer. The accounting section of the manual is organized by accounting topic. So as you can see, the manual starts out with accounting principles and internal controls and moves through several other accounting topics. Because the BAR's manual is mostly about accounting, we will spend a bit of time talking about the larger topics included in this area of the manual. Let's jump in. First, we cover the accounting principles and internal controls section. In this section, there are individual pages for accounting principles, fund types, bank reconciliations, internal controls, and original supporting documentation. To focus in on a couple of them, let's start with bank reconciliation. This is a critical piece of the operations at a local government. The accounting manual page that covers this discusses the internal control expectations regarding a reconciliation, the frequency of a reconciliation, as well as identifying a couple of areas that may be forgotten about, such as how to report impressed and petty cash funds. Moving on to another page in this section, the original supporting documentation page. This page has evolved over time, as retention for supporting documentation has changed over the years. This page specifically discusses electronic and scanned supporting documentation and how those may be acceptable forms of supporting documentation for expenditures at the government. Other topics are discussed on this page also. Now let's move into the next area of the accounting section, the revenues. In this section, the manual covers topics such as cash receipting, electronic fund transfers, or EFTs, for the receiving side, impact fees, utility taxes, and many other topics. The cash receipting page found here covers topics such as how deposits should be handled, receiving information that should be documented, and internal control expectations. This page is immensely helpful as new processes are adopted or new departments are experiencing this responsibility. In conjunction with that, governments are now experiencing EFT transactions from the receiving side. The BAR's manual provides guidance regarding what type of information should be documented with those transactions to serve as a receipt. Moving on to another section here, the awards section, which used to be known as grants. Most governments throughout the state experience award activity at one time or another, and those award activities change over time also. This section always has the most up-to-date information regarding awards and any new rules that may have been adopted by various agencies that provide the awards. Our office has specialists designated internally that work closely with agencies throughout state and federal government to ensure our manual brings to you the information you need as you navigate the awards that may be in play currently. Revenues were covered earlier, and we all know governments experience expenditure activities also. The BAR's manual brings to readers a section to capture all expenditure activities that could be experienced. The topics range from electronic fund transfers from the disbursement side to employee travel, redeemed warrants, and canceled check. Just to call attention to a couple areas here, let's start with the electronic funds transfer activity from the disbursement side of the transaction. The page within the manual that covers this topic sets the stage for an internal control expectation, such as documentation, for all transactions of this nature. Employee travel is another area covered, which covers the disbursements for employee travel as well as travel advances for employee travel. Our last category in the accounting section that we will cover is interfund activities. The best has been saved for last. This category contains topics that are frequently questioned and serve as complex topics. Several governments operate equipment rental and revolving funds, and that typically come with a lot of questions. Well, the manual has a page for that. Another topic included is cost allocation. Cost allocation serves as an area that has a lot of room for governments to implement what truly works for their government, but this section of the manual provides some general rules for governments to ensure they are following. The final topic we are covering here is reimbursements. Reimbursements comes with very special rules and situations, and our manual does not gatekeep those. This section details the rules and a couple of example situations to consider when evaluating potential reimbursements at the government level. This wraps up our accounting section of the BAR's manual. However, if you are looking for an accounting topic that didn't get mentioned here, I would recommend venturing out to the manual directly and navigating to the topic. There is a lot of information out there to be read. During this video we have briefly touched on various reporting topics. Now we are going to fully immerse you in the reporting section of the manual and discuss some of the most important items covered by this section. The reporting section of the manual is organized by reporting topic. As you can see, the manual starts out with reporting principles and requirements, and moves through several other reporting topics. Because the GAAP and cash reporting requirements are different, I would recommend venturing out to the manual directly and navigating to the topic to learn more. BAR's manual reporting topics are numerous, so we will spend a bit of time talking about the larger topics included in this area of the manual. Let's jump in. At the beginning of this video, we discussed that there is an annual report filed with our office by all governments in the state. We also mentioned earlier that this is because of RCW 43.09.230. This state law says that an annual report is required to be submitted by each government within 150 days after the government's fiscal year end. Now there is not just a set date for all governments because there are several different fiscal year ends that cover the reporting governments of Washington state. In order to file this annual report, it must be filed through the Secure Access Washington login for the government and through our online filing system available after logging in. All aspects of the annual report are required to be completed through this platform. As the annual report contains various required schedules and financial statements, depending on each government's activity, all reporting requirements can be found in the BAR's manual's reporting section. For cash basis, these requirements are found under either of these two pages depending on your government type. If you are a GAAP reporting government, these pages are combined and titled BAR's reporting requirements. All of the schedules that are required to be submitted based on the charts included on those pages will have corresponding instructions on their own individual pages detailing what is expected to be reported and how the schedules are expected to be prepared. Along with the instructions, there is a template provided for each required schedule of the annual report. The templates, though, are not located inside the BAR's manual. Reporting templates can be found on the BAR's Reporting Templates page located in the drop-down from our original landing page ribbon. Templates available here are intended to be uploaded in the annual report, if required. We do frequently have reporting updates that are required, and oftentimes in those cases, the templates are required to be updated as well. Be sure that if filing the annual report is a requirement of your position, that you come out to download a fresh copy of the template prior to preparing it and attempting to upload it. This wraps up our reporting section of the BAR's manual. However, if you are looking for information that didn't get mentioned here, I would recommend venturing out to the manual directly and navigating to the topic. There is a lot of information out there to be read. Here at the State Auditor's Office, we are sure to provide resources to governments in any way that we find is possible and useful to them. Let's cover a few of the resources related to the BAR's manual. The BAR's and Annual Report Filing FAQs page can be found in the list of main topics that are available. This is likely one of the first places governments will visit to find a resource or simply the answer to a question they may have. This page provides links to additional resources in the case that answers cannot be found directly here. Many of the questions included on this page have been covered in this video, so if you have forgotten to write down a note on a topic that you were hoping to look into more, I invite you to this page to find that information and any of the related links you may need to resolve the question. Another awesome resource that the office offers is a help desk. This is a free service that is offered by our office for use by governments at any time a question may arise. All questions submitted in the Help Desk portal are assigned to a specialist in the office over that topic to ensure that the most accurate and up-to-date guidance is given to a government. Responses to Help Desk questions are received by email directly to the individual that submitted the question. If any research or additional information is needed in order to respond to the question, the specialist assigned will reach out to the individual that submitted the question to gather the correct and necessary information. This resource is incredibly helpful when a government is in need of specific accounting guidance. If after today there are additional trainings you are interested in, we invite you to visit our training and workshops page. Our office hosts a series of webinars, in-person trainings, and an e-learnings library. Throughout the year, this page is updated as any new training types are available. To be notified of new trainings, I encourage you to sign up to receive notifications from our office. The State Auditor's Office has a Center for Government Innovation that is employed by specialists over many topics. This team publishes many resources throughout the year and has several free resources that can be used at any time. There are workshops hosted by this team, as well as trainings for lien services and cybersecurity. This team is a great resource for many topics. One of the important tasks this team sets out to accomplish is providing resources to local governments. To accomplish this task, the team stocks up their resource library with various articles regarding internal controls, like bank reconciliations, financial reporting checklists, and many more. This is also a free resource that is offered by our office and is accessible from our main website landing page. Thank you for watching this video today and coming to learn about the BARS manual. We hope this video sets you off to a good start in your journey in working with local government. If you have additional questions regarding the BARS manual, reach out to our team at LGCS, feedback@sao.wa.gov. We would love to connect with you and look forward to working with you in your career path with local government. Thanks.